Hey guys, it's Lucky Girl. Today I'm gonna share with you how I did my very first self retie on my 1000 Microlocs in the easiest way possible. I'm also going to share these 5 hacks that helped me save my time when I was doing my own self retie. Without further ado, let's just hop right into this video. My first tip is if you're going to do your own hair, try using a smartphone as a mirror as opposed to an actual mirror. With this, you'll be able to see every angle on your head, especially at the top of your head or the back. You can zoom in and out, part your hair symmetrically, and avoid accidentally combining your locks. For this to work, you will need several things. You're gonna need a smartphone, a computer or a TV, or if you have an iPad or a tablet, that would also work. You're also going to need a phone tripod stand, preferably the one that comes with a ring light. So I'm going to show you a quick setup on how you can operate these to your advantage. If you're going to use a computer, all you need is to download an app on your phone and on your computer. In my case, I'm using a Samsung phone. Well, Samsung has their own screen mirroring app that supports mirroring the screen of your phone to your computer. It's called Samsung Flow. For older versions of Samsung, there is SideSync, but unfortunately this app is currently obsolete. But it's still available for downloads online and it still works on older models of Samsung. It's not exactly compatible with the latest phones though. After installing the app on your computer and your smartphone, just follow the instructions to install and connect both of them. You have the option of either using a Bluetooth or a Wi-Fi, or you can use a USB cable as an anchor to connect your phone to your computer. Or if you have a very fast internet connection, you can connect both of them on the same Wi-Fi network and go wireless. After that, just turn on the camera on your phone and you can see every angle on your head. You can zoom in or out and basically control your phone from your computer. If you're gonna use a USB wire to connect to your computer, then you will need the wire to be at least 2 meters long so you can easily move your phone in case you want to view to different angle. The second option is for a TV and a smartphone. If you have a smart TV, then this is very easy. Most smart TV comes with their own mirroring apps, or they will give you a link to download one. For example, here with mine, I can use my smartphone as a TV remote control, or I can mirror my phone screen to my TV. It works both ways. Just make sure that your phone and TV are connected to the same Wi-Fi network. After connecting them, just turn on your phone camera. To zoom in or out, I'm using my S Pen as a remote control because unfortunately, unlike the computer, the TV remote doesn't control phone functions. So in this case, feel free to use voice commands. I can use Google Assistant to control my phone to open camera. Hey Google, open camera.
Opening camera.
Or if you have Samsung Note 10 or 20 like me, you can use the S Pen gestures as a remote control to zoom in or out on the camera. If you have an iPhone, well, you can always use the voice command with Siri. Another option for TV is for the ones that don't necessarily have a smart TV or a good internet connection. You can use a cable as an anchor from your TV to smartphone, just like I did on the computer. You won't need any app or internet for this, however, you will need a HDMI cable. You will also need to get a HDMI converter based on your phone and what type of charging port you would use. So just connect the cable to your smartphone and mirror your phone to your TV. Easy peasy, no apps, no installation. This is the manual way and this is how I used to do it back in the days. I will also link several other screen mirroring apps on the description for iPhone users, other Android users, iPads and tablets where you can download and try this out. However, most of these apps are not exactly free, so you have to get used to the ads. Tip number 2 is retwisting the new growth. This will cut down your interlocking time in half. I know this may not seem like the traditional way we are accustomed to seeing Microlocs reties, but trust me, I came up with this method because I simply considered the fact that I have more than 1,000 locks. They're also quite tiny, and interlocking a single lock with a new growth of about 2 inches would ultimately cost me a total of 3 to 5 minutes. At least this way, this method only takes about a minute or 2 for almost 3 inches of new growth. So here's how I do it. First, after selecting the lock, I would use this small alligator clip to insert the lock into the interlocking tool. This is so easy. If you have trouble putting your lock through those small holes, you need to get one of these. They're quite useful in speeding up the time wasted trying to get your lock through these crochet needles. I know for some people it can be quite tedious, so there you go. After putting the lock through the needle, I will simply leave it hanging as I keep working on the new growth. From there, I would continue with separating the new growth into 2 equal sections, and then I would start twisting the new growth as if I was doing a 2-strand twist. Well, it's actually a 2-strand twist. So I keep twisting until there isn't enough space for me to put my finger through it. At this point, there is still a gap that needs to be closed here. And since my finger won't get through to it, I will now use the crochet needle that is already hanging on my lock to seal the gap so the twist won't unravel. During this time, I do not let go of the twist because the minute I do, it will unravel, and this is why I inserted the crochet needle earlier. So normally you can leave it as it is and the lock is secured, but I choose to go further and interlock the roots even more just to make it a little bit neat. This is optional and it only takes 1 or 2 rotations. This entire process takes about a minute or so. So let me quickly go through the process again. Insert a lock through the needle. Cut the new growth into 2 equal sections. Twist the hair until you can't go any further, then use the needle to seal the space by interlocking the hair in between. And finally, go back and interlock the roots. This is of course optional. Now this method would be perfect if you have a lot of locks or a new growth of more than 2 inches. And it's perfect for people who started their microlocs with 2-strand twists or braids. Another tip is picking the right tools for the job. There are plenty of tools out there designed for the job, and I have tried several ones, but I came to fall in love with the simplest of them all, a yarn needle. It's plastic, lightweight, and comes in different sizes. I'm using the smallest of them all. It doesn't slip, so I can leave it in my lock and it will just hang there. You can customize it to fit your needs. For example, here, I'm using the smallest one I got, and I customized the tip to be sharper by simply filing it with a nail file. Because they're made out of plastic, it's pretty easy to mess around with them. You can manipulate it to bend for those who prefer the curved shape. Here I used one of the curved crochet tool to mimic its shape. Simply tied it down with a thread and put it in hot boiling water for about 2 minutes. Then I took it out of the water, then cool it down in an ice cold water, and when I cut out the thread, you can see that the needle has assumed the curved shape. Honestly, you can customize this to whatever shape, style, or size you desire. Another tip is using a 2-point rotation or a 3-point rotation. I'm using a 2-point rotation. If you're doing your own reties or you are simply new to interlocking, the easiest option will be a 2-point rotation. Simply put out, a 4-point rotation would require you to go to 4 different directions. With a 2-point rotation, you only need to either go north to west or south to east or vice versa. This for me is the easiest when it comes to hand mobility when doing your own reties. See, when you're doing your own hair, pulling your hair from 4 different directions can be very challenging. And to be honest, in some angles, it's rather unrealistic for me, unless of course you're capable of using your left hand just as precise as your right hand. For most people though, it's not possible. I noticed that since my right hand is my dominant hand, I have trouble going from west to east. So using a 2-point rotation will not only make my retie easier but also faster. You should also take into consideration what side you want your hair to lay down. Another tip I would say is time management. I would say take your time. So here's a breakdown of this entire process and how long it took me to finish retightening 1000 plus Microlocs. For this process to work, I feel it's very important to take your time and not rush into this. So I decided to break down my time into 4 hours of reties every day. This way I won't exhaust myself, which could lead to making mistakes or ending up combining my locks out of fatigue. So I did 4 hours of retie every day for 6 days, which took me a total of 24 hours. This retie happened 4 months after my installation. Honestly, it was a lot of new growth, so now I'm thinking maybe I'll start retying my hair every 3 months. This for me seems rather realistic since it takes me an entire week to do my own retie. I guess it's only fair I get to do this 4 times a year, and honestly that's all the time I can accommodate. However, I feel that things would be different next time because this was my first retie since installation. I found out that a lot of locks on my back had unraveled a long time ago, so I had to take them down and redo them all over, and some locks were very small. I did end up combining some of them. Also, because I had a lot of new growth, it was very hard for me to separate the locks in the roots. I had to use heat just to stretch out the roots of my hair. Here you can see my hair before the stretch. It was almost impossible to see the parts. So I used a blow dryer to stretch out my hair a bit just to make the process easier. And this was actually a pretty good idea as opposed to using water. Here's how my hair looked after stretching it, and this is before the stretch. And after the whole process was done, here is my hair. This footage was taken 2 weeks after my retie, so you'll notice there's a little bit of new growth on the roots. For me, doing and styling my own hair is part of who I am. I am very tender-headed. I've gone all my life avoiding letting people style or touch my hair. And as a result, I had to learn to do my own hair, and even with my busy lifestyle, I still try to accommodate reties. And that means finding ways or hacks to make this process a bit easier and faster. So tell me now, do you have any tips, tricks, or hacks that will be helpful for anyone who likes to do their own self-reties? Let me know at the comment section below. And give this video a thumbs up if you found any of these tips helpful.